This is your very basic punching tutorial. I'm going to show you how to make your fist so that you don't injure yourself when you start to do your practice and when you're punching. And I want to show you what part of the fist you're going to strike with when you're defending yourself or you're practicing on a bag, especially if you're not wearing gloves. Before we get started, remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. And in the comments section today, tell me where you're from, how old you are, or how long you've been training. Give me some information about you. I'd like to know a little bit more about you as you practice with me. First things first, starting with an open hand, you're gonna roll your fingers down at each knuckle until they come very tight into your palm, and you will not see your fingernails. They're gonna be tucked in there. So you're gonna roll these fingers in and get it nice and tight. Make sure it's square here. Now here's the secret to the thumb. This is where most people make this fist wrong from this position. They squeeze everything in. When you see when I squeeze it all in, that pops the knuckles up and it gets rid of my square box. Now when I hit, it's gonna roll my wrist and I'm gonna get injured again. So here's the secret. You roll this down here, and then instead of squeezing the fist together, pulling it this way, you're gonna pull the thumb down and you're just gonna place it in front of these first two knuckles. If it goes across, it starts to squeeze it in. You're thinking of pushing it this way, that's wrong. Pull it back and just sit it right there. Now, this wrist here, move the wristband. See how it's rolled up? If you're punching this way and it's rolled up, it's gonna snap back. So now you have to make sure that as you practice and as you punch, you keep it straight on the top of your wrist all the way out, so that as you're punching, it's nice and flat. You don't want it to roll back. Keep this very tight. When you practice, if you're practicing your pumse or your forms, your patterns, always tight. When you practice, always tight. You're training yourself. I like to say that this is the seed of my focus. You're training your focus by keeping that fist tight and holding it during the entire practice. One more time. You're gonna start with your fingers open, your hand open. You're gonna see how red that is? That means I'm really squeezing. That's what I want you to do. You really, really squeeze it. You roll this down, get that nice and tight. Remember not to pull this over, but to pull this down and lock it. Lock it, make sure your wrist is tight. Now, when you strike, you'll notice I have two big knuckles. And these two big knuckles are supported by these bones into the wrist, and then you have two little knuckles. These two little knuckles are not supported the same way. The bones are smaller and they kind of curve in. These two will break if they get hit, and it really, really hurts. I'm speaking from experience. So you're gonna roll these in, pull this down here, and in martial arts, this is different than boxing, this is different than Muay Thai. Martial arts, Taekwondo, Tangsoodo, and Karate, it's always going to be striking with these two big knuckles, which means the last part of it is you've got to turn your fist a little bit. Turn it just a little bit, so that as you punch, these two knuckles come in square right on the target. These two knuckles are not going to be making much contact. A little bit of contact because if you're hitting the bag or hitting something, they're gonna touch. But these two, they're doing all of the damage. They're doing all of the work. Now you're gonna know if you're doing it right when you're punching on a bag or punching on a target. If these two knuckles, a lot of people, I'll see this in class, a lot of people, these two, they'll be clear, they won't be red at all. They'll be the regular color of their skin. And these two get really red. That means that they're not turning that fist a little bit, turn it a little bit, keeping the wrist straight to hit with those two knuckles. And so these two are hitting all the time. They'll get red here, that means that they're just getting too much action. You want all the red here, hitting with this part over and over. Let's go look at the bag. I'll show you what that looks like. Now I have a Muay Thai bag, a banana bag, which is really long. It's great for kicks. It's not really good for traditional karate or Taekwondo style punching. I like the ones that aren't as long, that swing a little bit more. When the bag swings away from you and it comes back and you hit it, you start to develop dynamic power, which really means density in the muscle fibers, all of the tendons and the joints start to change a little bit, and you get stronger as you're striking. These bags, they don't move the same way. They're great for kicks. I don't like them as much for punching, but I broke the other one that I was gonna use. It used to hang over here, so we gotta use this one today. This punching always start light. If you're a beginner, start really light. Two things are gonna happen. You're gonna rub the skin off of your knuckles. You don't wanna do that. You're gonna get a little bit of that, so accept it. But if you rub the skin super raw, it's gonna take you weeks for that to heal. That means weeks without training, because you can't just keep doing it over and over and over again. It won't heal if you don't let it heal. So you wanna go to a point where you're starting to do it a little bit and you feel it, but then you back off, you let it heal, you come back, the skin's a little bit tougher, it's like building a callus. You don't wanna get those blisters the first time, it's hard to get your work done. You can get your work done with the blisters, but it's harder. So you're gonna punch, you're hitting this, just twisting the hand over, practice making contact with those two big knuckles first. Just practice like this, just barely touching, making contact, starting here in front of your face, turning, straight punches first. That's all you have to really work on. Nice and light, turning, breathing out as you punch it. Make sure your elbows are staying close to your body, and as they go out, you're pushing here, the arm goes straight, and you're not lifting the elbow and flicking it out. When you lift and flick, that's when you're gonna start to get the redness here. Lifting and flick, you're gonna hit this every single time. So from here, you're gonna push, push, push. And like I said at the beginning, keep it light. Just practice. Trust me, you'll build up very quickly. You'll be able to throw the punch. You'll also wanna make sure that your shoulders aren't bunched up as you're punching. Let your shoulders relax. You'll feel it like this, you'll feel it in your neck. You'll know when you hit something really hard, if your shoulder's up, it can dislocate. You're not gonna dislocate it on a bag. I'm talking about self-defense. But you wanna practice, keep your shoulders down, keep your chin tucked a little bit, and practice eyes on the target,